Okay. Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and good night. Welcome back. You are now in the gym with Jim. I am your host, Jim. I'm with my kuya, my dog, Trizzy. What's going on, baby?
I'm doing well. So as you can see, I'm not in the frame today for many good reasons.
Yeah, for many good reasons.
But I'm glad to be here.
Episode 7, baby. You know, cheers to us. And we got a very, very special guest with us today. My dog, Kerto of Ketro.Training. How are you, man?
I'm good, bro. I'm good, man. Nice to be with you guys. My boy Trizzy.
Yes, sir.
My boy Jim.
Yes, sir.
Honestly, it's an honor.
Well,
thanks for having me.
Welcome to the couch, man.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
Love.
Look, man, we're excited to have you. We've been planning this for a little bit. We even teased at the end of episode 5. You know, scheduling conflicts. We had to do some stuff, but it worked out. So, sure you're familiar with the show. We always start with checking in, and today we're checking with you first, sir. So my first question is, how are you today, sir? How are you feeling?
I'm doing great. I'm blessed. It's a happy Sunday. You know, I'm a man of God, so I went to church today.
Okay.
My family, you know, kick off the week straight. Really can't complain, man. I'm healthy. Got my family. I'm good. I'm with you guys.
Amazing.
I'm blessed, man.
Hey, God bless, man. God bless.
Yeah.
And now, Kuya, how you feeling, brother?
I'm feeling really well. And off the topic of that kuya note, prior to the episode, Jimmy was sharing us Bruno Mars' new song, which is actually kind of heat. I must admit, it was a good song. But otherwise, I'm feeling good, man. Like this week has been busy and long, tiring, but here we are, ready to take on the new week tomorrow. But what about yourself? Tell me.
Oh man, Bruno Mars dropped, man. Once Bruno Mars released that 31-minute album into the world, things are good, man. It was pay week. I got some Bruno Mars. Me and the boys over Finesse Basketball Academy went to compete for a championship today. Kudos to those boys. If this ever comes across their U12 timeline for some reason, congrats to you boys. You guys competed today. We didn't get the championship, but we fought and we got to the dance, and that's what's really important.
Extremely important.
You know what I mean? So today we won't be going to the anime segment. We're going to go straight to the conversation. So I like to start our interviews with our lovely guest by trying to put a bio together from what I know, what I have in my notes. Okay? So I have my phone in my hand because I have some notes and I want to put some stuff together. So what I understand. Okay? So this is Kerto of Ketro.Training. First name Kevin. I'm gonna keep calling you Kerto. You know, just to respect him. I keep calling you Kerto. Hope you're okay with that.
Yeah.
So we have Kerto, who played grassroots hockey with organization in Scarborough. Right? You played with two organizations in Scarborough.
Yes, correct. I played for the West Hill Golden Hawks and then the Cedar Hill Rebels.
Perfect. And then from there, if I could, correct me if I'm wrong, but you didn't play like prep for a very long time. You played for a bit. Didn't play at all.
I didn't really play rep hockey at the highest level. The way it works is, you know, there's 3 different levels at the minor hockey level. You play A, AA, or AAA.
Yes.
So I played A hockey for the majority of my life, and in the last year, I played a little bit of some AAA. At that time, it was called under 21.
Okay.
Juvenile AAA hockey. But that's as high as I've ever got, and I don't like to tell people that because, you know, it's really not of significance, to be completely honest with you, right? So I'm just very fortunate I got to play.
Fair. And then from there you went to post-secondary.
I went to post-secondary.
And you studied?
Studied business. I did, that's where I met my boy Tristan actually, right?
Yes.
In university. So I went to a university called University of Ontario. Institute of Technology is now called OTU. And man, I was there for a little bit, and then I actually went to Durham College for a bit too.
Okay.
And
not in my notes. Not
in your notes, so you can drop that in the bio.
Here we go.
Right?
Okay.
And then I went through that little phase where I dropped out of that and went right back to university, and I finished there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then after finishing university, what did you get into? I had it that you were just getting into starting the
training.
Thinking about the hockey training business.
Interesting. Like while I was in university, I was working at a hockey school.
Okay.
a hockey gym. And I was also working at Walmart at the same time.
Okay.
So after I graduated, in that time span, I had a different job as well as a car parts sales guy. I did that for a bit, and then I got laid off, and I just took off with the training, right?
And this was around what time?
And this
Like
was
what year?
around, I would have been 20, so we're looking at around 2011, 2012, 2013.
Okay, so you got into the training really, really early.
I got into the training pretty early. Like I said, like during university, I started working at a hockey gym in Scarborough called Hyperfit Hockey. So that's what gave me my start in the game. And it was only after I graduated and I got laid off from the car parts company, that's where I really took a chance, and I'm just like, you know what, let me try training people. And at that point I didn't think it was gonna be hockey players. It was just train anybody. Right? But the hockey players really took off. They took obviously I was working at a hockey school, but nonetheless, like I was a personal trainer, and it was the athletes that took a liking to me, and I got my foot off the ground.
So you get laid off, and then when did you get the certification to do the training, or you you already training? Like how did that?
I was
happen?
Very, very lucky, and that's a great question actually. When you're training kids, you don't necessarily need a certification, right? A push-up's a push-ups, a squat's a squat, stuff like that, right? Really simple. But when I got laid off, I was like, okay, cool. I need to find a way of making some legitimate money, and so yes, I went and got a certification. And when I got my certification, that allowed me and gave me the confidence to not only train young athletes, but train moms, train, university friends, train the average 9-to-5 worker. And I was able to do that. And so that's what I got my certification for. And it was actually maybe 6 months after I got laid off, that's when I started gaining a lot more clients. And I started making some bread. I'm like, oh, like I think I could do this. It was never really truly a plan to do that. It just came organically, right?
That's interesting, because when you think about it, being that you are a godly person, there's a lot of mention of, sometimes people have to, sometimes whatever you believe, in this case it's God, God has to remove stuff from you for you to be able to see like what your true path is and what your real passion is. Like there could be like a alternate universe where that car place just actually never lays you off, and you never actually just take that step into doing the training full time, and you never get a chance to work with those, you know what I'm saying? The 9 to 5 and the athletes and the mothers, because you're caught up working. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Just to add on to that, like I was almost gonna get a job at the bank. My mom was really pushing for that, because naturally it's a safe job. Right, you can sit knowing that you got a paycheck every 2 weeks. It's pretty consistent. You can see the ladder, right? As a trainer, there is no guarantees. So it went to my boy Josh. I'm gonna show my boy Josh Donor from university. I got laid off. Yeah, I showed up Josh, and he was like, "Yo, Kev, like you really like the hockey thing. Why don't you actually just try doing something with that?" So he gave me the smart idea: go on EI. I went on EI. My mom's like, yo, Kev, like you can still chill here, but I'm gonna give you 6 months. And it was at the end of my EI, that's when God was like, all right, I'm gonna send you some more clients, because before then I was just on EI. I wasn't making no money outside of the hours that the gym gave me. So, near the end of my EI, I did an interview with TD Bank, and that same week I did an interview with TD Bank. I ended up getting like 3 clients. Oh. So it was just like, it just lined up perfectly. And so I took off from there. And to your point, when one door closes, another one naturally opens, but you got to step through that door.
Hell yeah.
That's what I'll tell anybody. Like, you got to be willing to step through that door regardless and see what's on the other side. So that's what I did.
I think my question, Kev, is a little bit more, I want to go back in time a little bit more. Because like Josh, I think Josh, similar to me, like we saw your love for hockey and your passion for the game. I'd like to understand, like going through school, going through everything you did from an academia perspective, could you share with us, like, what was the original starting point of your love for the sport?
Yeah, great question. So, my dad, we're from Uganda. I was born here. My brother was born here. My dad went to school. I'm very lucky. He was a bright man. He went to school in Russia. He got a scholarship to go to Russia. And in Russia, that's what they play. They play hockey. So he went to school for engineering, and I believe it was there he grew a love for the game. And so when we were young, in fact, I didn't even like hockey. It was my brother that liked hockey. So my brother asked one day, can you put me on some skates? And my dad's like, if he's gonna do it, you're gonna do it. So long story short, I believe it or not, I was a goalie first, and in that second year, I became a player. And two things happened that year. My dad passed away, and I ended up having a really good season too. And when you're a kid and you figure out what you're good at, you like doing it because you get recognized for it, right? So that's where the passion, I should say, that's where we got introduced. And then I personally think, just through growing up, it was a way for me to connect with my late dad. If I continue to play hockey, there's something that makes me remind me of him.
That's dope.
And just keep doing my thing.
Hey, shout out to Papa Kerto, man. Shout out to him. Shout out to him. No, honestly. And then now my next question is, obviously you developed a love for the sport at a very young age, thanks to your late father. As you go through academia, I'm assuming and the three of us were people of color. We were very sometimes regimented in some certain ways. How did Mama Kerto feel about you pursuing something that is normally unorthodox, aka personal training, versus doing the stable job, the TD banks, the accountings, et cetera?
Yeah, well, anybody who comes from an ethnic background, generally, at least the people growing up in Scarborough, whether you're African, Filipino, Asian, whatever, like it's academics first, no matter what. So, my mom always threatened us, so you don't bring home A's, you ain't playing. I don't even know how she let me play, because trust me, I was not bringing home A's all the time, fam. I wasn't, but I think my mom is very unique in the sense that she actually understood the importance of coming from a foreign country, but being Canadianized to fit in, right? So she encouraged sports. She encouraged us to play. She knew that we loved it. To this day, Mama Kerto still watches hockey by herself. I got to give it to her. But, to answer your question, as much as I wanted to pursue the personal training, like, she still was a realist. Like, bro, like, nah, fam. It's not one of those, right? It's not one of those. And I had to just prove to her through action, like, I got this. I had to fight through that. And if there is anything I could tell anybody, it's just like, your parents are always going to want you to do what they think is best to protect you. But if you have that voice inside that's telling you, like, you're meant for something, like, I'm going to still urge you to go and just go push through that. Like, you just have to. Because at least I'll talk from my experience, it's worked out. You know what I mean? It's honestly, it's worked out. But I had to see it through. So it wasn't that my mom didn't support me. It's just that in a way, she actually motivated me more by being like, why don't you switch up, go the safe route. And I had to be like, no, I'm going to just double down and just go even extra to prove to her, like, the safe route, it doesn't have to be the only route.
And I feel like that also makes you, work twice as hard to show her the receipts.
Yeah. For sure. Like,
the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, like, through, again, the perfect question was earlier, it's like, how you doing? And I'm just like, bro, I'm a man of God. I can tell you right now, when I was in my teenage years, in my earlier 20s, like, I was not that person, right? I only found out through really understanding, if I want to get what I want, like, I just can't do it dolo. I need a higher power. And, like, when I started, the closer I got to God, it's like, he just kept opening up more doors. I couldn't explain it. So I'm just like, all right, if this is the only way I can get what I really want, then I got to do it this way.
Amen.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's fair, man.
Yeah, so you know, yeah, no, it's been a good ride, and like those receipts are in the pudding now. Mans are good, bro. You know,
There you go, man. No, I think it's dope. And it's cool. So we were saying 2013 now, things are rolling. You feel more confident. You have your training. You have a couple more clients. Now things are kind of, rolling. But at this point, you're still working with the 9-to-5ers, a couple athletes and mothers and everything else. So then when does the change go from you to focus more on the athletic side? Not only the athletic side, but more focus on the hockey side. Like when does Kerto Training pivot from I'll train whoever needs to be trained and be like just PT to let me have this young kid, let me build the skills, let me build this up and like getting into that space.
So anybody that knows me, truthfully, knows that I'm thoroughly motivated by the people who just tell me I can't do something, right? And very early on, like working at that hockey school, Hyperfit, it really showed me who I was because I didn't know who I was, right? So I was training kids, and that's how I was getting paid. And then to your point, I became a personal trainer, and I was training, the 9-to-5ers, some moms, some of my friends, and it was I would say closer to 5 years after like when I started, so 2013 to about 2018, that's when the shift started changing because one of the athletes I was working with ended up moving up the food chain, like the hockey food chain, right? And I'll never forget my mentor was just like, yo, one day I think you're gonna be good enough to train NHL players. And I'm like, yo, you're looking at me like me? What are you talking about, bro?
That's
That's
big,
incredible.
Right? And I didn't know what he meant.
huge.
But in that, I had to make a decision. Like, the spot I was at, it was great, but I knew I wanted more, and I needed to learn even more. So, around that time, that athlete, got drafted to the OHL, which is called the Ontario Hockey League for the guys that don't really understand hockey. If you're watching Jim's channel and he's a basketball lover, that's almost like playing at the D1 level, right? So that was a huge accomplishment. And then he ended up getting drafted to the NHL. So I had to start directing my focus more towards trying to get him to that next level and everyone else that comes with it, right? And so, yeah, by 2018, 2019, that's when I made that transition. And I started formulating, just my own path in the game and directing more of my focus on hockey athletes and hockey athletes who are trying to achieve the holy grail, which is just try to get to the league. Just trying to get to the league.
And I feel like this is also part of our regular conversations where we just keep telling each other, all it takes is one.
Yeah.
All it takes is one. Yeah. Shout out Foodie, by the way.
Yeah, and that's the person I'm talking about is Liam Foodie. And listen, like, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you for 2 seconds, like, I didn't work hard. Everybody works hard. Right, but my boy Tristan just said, like, your athletes are a reflection of your success too, and so while he became more successful, I became more successful, and I'm gonna keep it real too, man. Like, I know you guys brought it up being a black man in a white sport or something that we might talk about a little bit later, but it's just like, I was a young buck in my mid-20s, also black, right? Which is not necessarily traditional at that time. Yes, people have come before me, but still not prevalent to this day. And he stuck with me, and it helped put my name on the map. It helped put what I'm about on the map. And a lot has come with that too. So shout out to him for sticking with me. That's my man. We chat a lot. That's my dog, bro.
And if you don't mind, I just want to ask, since we're on the topic of being black in a space that's predominantly Caucasian. So I want to bring it back a little bit. So as you're playing in West Hill and these other programs, like, what is it like? Because I imagine, the way I see it as somebody who is not into the hockey space and doesn't really understand it, like, you and Corey, to me, being on the ice with everybody else, to me feels like it's crazy. Like I don't know how the energy is. To make it really quick, like a tangent, when I was playing rugby in 2008, I guess I say 2008, we went to like Fletcher's Field, which is, I don't even know where it is, but it's somewhere that's predominantly not black. And when we go and we'd play these other predominantly white teams, they got really aggressive with us. You know what I mean? Like stomping, name calling, like, and this is 2008. It's not that, I feel like it's not that far removed, but it is. So
That's terrible, Jim.
yeah, it wasn't a great experience. Those teams got washed though, so it doesn't even matter. We slapped those teams, so don't worry about it. They didn't get, nothing great was coming from them.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a great experience. So I just want to know, at the beginning, we're gonna build up to where we got to today. But like, what was it like in your younger days playing a sport that is predominantly not us?
Well, I will say this, like, everyone's experience is different.
Fair.
And I could say growing up in Scarborough, playing hockey amongst Caucasian people, and this might go viral. It might, but it's almost as if I felt more comfortable going to the rink and being myself, and I never saw color, than me going to high school amongst black people and being like, yo, I play hockey. Right? And that sounds crazy. And that sounds crazy. And I'll tell you why. Because at least growing up in Scarborough, and even at the time when me and my brother were coming up, you know, it wasn't as multicultural as it is now. But Scarborough at least did a really good job to just make everybody feel the same in that space, in the hockey space. I can recall maybe once in my minor hockey career going out to a tournament, let's just say maybe an hour, 2 hours away from Scarborough, Toronto, and somebody called me the N-word. I even hear it. One of my teammates jumps in, starts fighting the dude, and respect to the father of that kid who called me the N-word. That father made that kid come to me and apologize, right? But that was the only instance that I've ever really, faced some level of racism. And I will say this for the people who might listen to this podcast through my channel, because I have a lot of hockey followers, I am aware that at the higher levels, where it is predominantly Caucasian, where it is predominantly elitist, right? You might get some pushback, based off of your color. Maybe because I played at a lower level, it didn't really matter. But, it was okay. To answer your question, like, it really wasn't that bad. And naturally, the person I am, like, I just got this natural confidence to myself that I'm aware of, and things like that just don't bother me. Like, they really just don't bother me. It's not at the forefront. Even now, if I walk into an arena and I'm legit the only black person in there, like, it doesn't bother me. I don't even see it. I just feel comfortable. Maybe that's just my passion, right?
Fair.
But to touch on how I felt amongst my own people, not necessarily the same country, but just based off my skin tone, growing up in Scarborough, I did feel uncomfortable. I did feel, not that my own immediate friends made me feel like that, but especially when I got to high school, it was just like, bro, maybe you're not like us. Maybe, like, there's something different about you because you like hockey. And as much as they never said it to my face, it was the energy that I felt. And it could be true or not, but it was just how I felt. It's how people made me feel. So I felt more comfortable talking about hockey in a hockey rink with white kids or whatever kids it was versus even just telling a friend of a friend, like, yo, I play hockey, or a girl that I might like who might be black that I play hockey. I'm like, yo, dog, what do you mean?
And you get stranger looks and more assumptions and judgment in that environment versus that of, in a hockey rink, which is really interesting to hear, actually. I don't think I've ever heard you tell me this.
Oh, I haven't. No, I'll never forget. Like, I went to a party, and there's this girl I was interested in. And I'm like, yo, guess what sport I play? She looked at me, she's like, yo, like, you're not tall. Maybe you play football. Right? And I was just like, nah, guess again. She's like, all right, basketball. I'm like, nah, I play hockey. And then she just kind of gave me one of those looks, like,
Right.
like, you know, before it was cool. All of a sudden I play hockey, it's like, yo, fam, you're a little bit different.
Right.
There was the energy she gave me, right? So, you know, for me, now I'm 34. It's different. Like, it doesn't matter. I know who I am. But as a young teenager, it's different. Like, you're still trying to find yourself. You're trying to find your confidence. All those things matter. You know?
I could imagine, because everybody that I've known outside of you, yourself, and Corey, like, to play hockey, it always seemed like you have to be priced out. And speaking from a person who didn't know people who played, black people that played hockey until I met you two, my perspective did change, because initially I always thought of it as like, hockey is expensive. And for you to play hockey, it means you're able to do that. And somebody who comes from where we come from in these areas or whatever, affluent areas, we can't just go to a rink and be like, okay, let's put on skates and let's go hit a puck around. Like, that's not realistic. You know what I mean? So if you're fortunate enough to do that, it might mean, again, this is me thinking back then, like, it might mean that, like, we're just different people, because you can go out and do this. Like, you can go out and try that sport. So maybe if somebody came to me at that time and looked at me like, yo, I play hockey, I'm like, oh shit, it must be nice. Like, it must be nice that you can go out and play hockey and spend whatever on this and this on a puck and that on this, because the price of entry is not cheap.
But isn't that fascinating to think, like, immediately when, let's say, we all know ice time, equipment is expensive, but isn't it fascinating to think that when someone says, I play hockey or I play golf, immediately you get this shift of, oh man, this person must be well off, or 100%. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of judgment behind.
Correct. Based off stereotypes.
For sure.
And like,
Exactly. For sure.
Just to touch on that, a couple of things, and that's why I'm happy I have the platform to speak on your podcast. Like, you know, hockey can be expensive, but, you know, if you actually look under the hood at the grassroots level, like, bro, like, anybody could hop in. You know, you get to a rink, your parents, you know, allow you to get to the rink, and you don't have, you know, time to look for equipment, lessons, whatever. Yo, there's the right people in the right place to be like, yo, this is where you go. You know, there's programs you can get free equipment. You know, shout out to my boy Anthony Stewart or Kirk Brooks. Like, these guys have created platforms. Seaside Hockey has their own house league in Scarborough, catered to colored people, not just black people, like anybody. Tough. Which is heavy.
Wow. Okay.
You know,
Did not know that.
Yeah. Like, yo, search him up. He's a real dude, Scarborough man, and you know, my kid hopefully one day is gonna get to play in his house league potentially, right? Because I know I can go in there, and let's say I don't have all the money in the world, I can go in there confident and be like, yo, my kid's gonna get some ice time, right? And they're gonna provide me with equipment and stuff like that, right? Hockey Equality was created from another Scarborough man who touched the NHL a little bit, Anthony Stewart. You know, he's done a good job of providing training at affordable costs. Whether perfect or not, it's still an opportunity. So if you're willing to if your kid is just like, yo, I want to play hockey, you just got to go on the internet and just search it up, right? But it's easier to be like, you know what, let's just dismiss it because I know, yo, it's expensive, right? And it's like anything else. The higher you go, the more expensive it gets. But at the grassroots level, you can entry and you can play. And I want to use my platform to get more people to play the game because it has provided a lot of structure in my life. And I can honestly say that it has saved my life. You feel me? Tough. So I just wanted to say that, not to go on a tangent.
No, please.
But I think it's very important to let's change the narrative. Like, yo, you can get in. Like, you actually can get in if you are willing to be open-minded. You feel me?
No, and I appreciate that answer because, like you said, not a lot of people even bother looking under the hood. It's just the immediate assumption of, I can't do this. I can't do that. I can't be involved in this. This takes too much resources, et cetera, et cetera. What I'd like to ask you, Kev, is, you know, you've been on this journey for a while. You've gone through highs. You've gone through really high highs or really low lows. What keeps you going?
It changes, right? More recently now, like I can't say I'm a brand new father, but I got my own son now. His name is his name is Cairo. Sorry,
Shout out Cairo.
Shout out Cairo.
Shout out Cairo,
King
man.
Kai. Right, he's 2.5 years old. You know, when I was younger and I didn't have a son, it was like, bro, like I'm just trying to be the best trainer in the game. I'm just trying to prove myself amongst the ones who've been doing it. I want to prove to them like, yo, like I can do this. I don't have the resume of a pro guy, but I can do this. I know what I'm talking about. You know, now it's more so just being a legit role model for my son, right? Like being able to wake up and show him like, yo, this is how you got to get to it. If you want to be something that you've always desired to be, like you could do it. No matter what anybody says, no matter where you come from. You might have a penny to your name. You might be homeless, but like when there's a will, there's a way, but through God. You feel me? So that's my motivation is my son now. And hopefully one day even getting to grow my family. Like, you know, I think that's something that's important, at least in my life. I think it should be important to a lot of people because there's another piece that comes with it. But realistically, like, you know, you go through different motivations at different stages of your life, and that's where I'm at right now. Right? That's what keeps me going.
Jimmy has never said this to anybody, but he wants 8 kids. How many do you want, Kev?
Yo, shout out to Liz, baby. We're gonna go for 5, dog. We're going for 5. Shout out Liz.
That's beautiful.
You hear that?
Quick
Yo.
5 piece? Hey, man.
Right? My grandfather went for 13. I gotta get at least half of that. You know what I mean?
This guy said a quick 5 piece. Hey, yo, get him up, bro. If you open shoot.
Yo, listen,
If you open
man.
shoot, bro, slap shots is good. I know terminology, bro.
Find a way, baby.
Cross half, it was not icing. I know, get him up. Get him up. I know terminology. I know a little bit about a little bit.
Yo, shout out to my boy Jim, dog. 8. Hey, here
Yeah, man, I know a little
the
bit.
8 ball, baby.
Yeah, I wish. I wish. I'm gonna swing for the fences. I'll tell you that much. Whatever comes of it, comes of it.
How has fatherhood changed your day to day? Like, from obviously you from Cairo now, 2.5 years old. I'd like to understand how did him coming into the world change not only your perspective about your profession and how you view the world versus that of when you were in your 20s?
Yeah. Well, I think I'm going to answer the second question first. You know, how I view my life in my 20s versus how I view my life now. In my 20s, and I'm talking more specifically after I finished university, it was like my first love was hockey. So everything was catered around that. Like, I went deep dive into that world, you know. Prior to that was, you know, have fun with my boys, have a lot of that. But I started realizing in my earlier 20s that if I really want to be a guy in this game, I'm going to have to start sacrificing my time with my friends to really give to my athletes. So everything was was based around my athletes. Athlete first. You know, so, you know, I started dabbling. Like, okay, I'm gonna wake up at 4 o'clock. I'm gonna wake up at 5 o'clock. I'm not gonna go out on a Friday night. I'm not gonna go out on a Saturday night. You know, I want to stay locked in. I'm not gonna drink for 2 to 3 months. I tried doing everything to like learn how to be the best, right? And that was a transition in and of itself. Because anybody that knows me knows, like, yo, I love my friends, you know?
We love you too, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I love my friends,
We
love
love you
going
too,
out,
bro.
all that. Like, love it. But, fam, like, I had to pick. I felt like God was like, yo, you got to pick and choose, right? And so in my 20s, that was what my life was based around. And I'll never forget, I was just like, if realistically this is what I want to do and make money doing this versus a 9 to 5, I got to set myself up now so by the time I reach in my 30s, when I am ready to have a family, if I get that lucky, I'm making enough money doing it. Now that I'm a father, yes, it's changed a little bit, but in a way it's changed very much differently. And from this perspective, like, I want to get home to my son. I want to be a father that is there, and training athletes is not only time consuming, but it's very emotionally draining in a good way. You need to cater to their needs. Almost, you feel like 24/7, right? You're always thinking about how they're doing. You want to check, at least the type of trainer I am, always want to check up on them and stuff like that. So I've slowly have been transitioning to becoming more of a trainer that needs to know when to cut that cord and create certain boundaries, right? And so yeah, from that perspective, I'm divvying up my time differently. I'm just there with my son more, there for my wife, just creating a legit a good balance.
Yeah.
Which is a hard thing for a person who owns their own business.
For sure.
Facts.
Very, very hard thing.
And I want to take a slight pivot. I want to ask you, Jimmy. Like, Kerto just shared a lot about sacrifices. It's a two-part question. One is, do you A, resonate with this, and B, do you understand the level of sacrifice it took for your own, ventures?
Yeah, no, resonate for sure. Like as he's speaking, I'm hearing it because I get it. Like when you have something that's your own and you've essentially birthed it, and you always want to check in. Like I've done a lot to make sure, or I did a lot to make sure that things were going the way that I wanted them to go to the best of my ability at the time. So, like he said, if it was waking up at 5 to make sure that that client, in my case, was able to enter or whatever the case may be, or just staying up until 1 to make sure they're able to exit, or if it's, that phone call from the pro to be like, hey, I need to get a quick workout and to build up relationships to make sure we have future business going down the line. Like I would do a lot of stuff to make sure, and that can be a sacrifice. Like, yeah, I saw the Mandem kind of, but not really. Like I was really locked into what I had to do, and I missed a lot of stuff. Like I missed a lot of birthdays, my parents' birthdays, my partner's birthdays, whatever had to be done, because I was ensuring that I was able to build something that I thought would have lasted at the time. So I do understand, and I definitely resonate with that. And before we even end this, I just want to put it out there. We are both very proud of the person that you are becoming. This is not even the final stage of what you're going to do. I'm sure 35 and 36 is going to look even better than 34. And maybe you can't see it right now for yourself, but it's going to look better. When you find that balance of like, okay, I have this separation between this, and I'm able to be a dad to my 18 kids, and I'm able to do what I got to do. You're going to see it. So please, you inspire me every day. So please continue on the path that you're on and keep pushing. I do want to ask, again, I'm very fascinated by being black in this space that's white dominated. And obviously you can tell me more about it, but I want to ask, so now you have your first client and they go through the OHL and then they go into the NHL and things are kind of moving that way. So I imagine the focus does not, let me just ask, I won't say imagine. Does the focus now become, okay, I have a pro and maybe this person is bringing their family or the brothers, or I have a couple stuff in my hair, but you guys, you can go into it. You have more pros coming, so you're like, hey, now I have to make sure I treat these pros a specific way and get them right for what they're going to do, whether it's the AHL, OHL, whatever. Like I got to make sure they're blessed, but you also never want to lose the baseline of what it is, where you still have your kids and you have your house leads and you're building that up, but then you also want to make sure that you keep Kerto and your, now your wife and your 2-year-old, like you want to keep all this stuff in balance. So like, let's start quickly from the beginning. Like you have your client, you're in the space, you're now adding pros and you're still trying to find the balance of keeping the young kids. Like how do you deal with the pendulum of swinging back and forth between, okay, now I got the pros, now I got to go back to this, now I got this going, but now I got to go back to the family. Like, how do you deal with that swing?
Great question. And
come on, baby.
something that I learned maybe the hard way, because I'll tell you for free, man. Like, you could think you're the best trainer and do everything perfect, but eventually some clients are going to leave you.
Fact.
Right? Whether just due to just time, just worked a long time together, or maybe you just screwed up, man. Like maybe you just screwed up. Maybe you just weren't the best trainer you could be. And I remember earlier on, like it was like, yo, I know most of these guys are here to see me, so it was hard for me to find somebody to trust to help, divvy up the work. But over the course of time, I did find those guys. And so this is going to lead me into how you do it. I learned that as much as you might not trust people, or the people that you get to help you ain't perfect, you still got to find a way to create a team, right? And so as I started gaining new athletes through my current athletes, and they're bringing their friends. Like, it's one of the say, yo, how'd you get Jack McBain or whatever? He's playing for Utah, right? It's like, yo, he's best friends with Jack. He's best friends with Liam Foodie, bro, right? And he wants to train with his best friend. Now it's on me to do a good job to keep him, right? Which I believe I've done. But at the end of the day, like, as those guys start coming through, and to your point, those guys are making money, so they are at the top. They're at the top of the food chain, And you'd like to think you can treat everybody the same as just you're one person. So over time, I had to start finding the right guys, and building a team, delegating. Yeah. All right, you know what, Kev, like, you're gonna be working with these sets of athletes. Yo, Kenny, you're gonna be working with these sets of athletes. Yo, Corey, you're gonna work out with these sets of athletes. I had a contract on my boy, one of my guys, his name is Jonathan Koo. Check him out. He's a great mobility trainer. He's part of our team, so he takes care of my mobility. But, when I became Kerto Training officially, I started realizing 2 to 3 years in, as my business was growing, I had to bring in guys. Yeah. And that's what alleviated me to then start, understanding, okay, I can create some balance at home too. And that's something that's really hard for me, because naturally I like to control my own space. I don't like crowds. I like to go to bed at a certain time, what I'm really trying to, I'm a little bit of a control freak. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's not easy for me to do that, but I realize if I'm going to essentially make more money too, at the end of it too, like, I'm going to need to build a team. So that's how I've grown in this space, to create balance, to then manage more.
When you were getting into the space early off, you mentioned the mentor. Do you want to share like a little bit about that?
Yeah. So my mentor, and I'm going to shout out 2 guys. Okay. But the main guy's name is Ben Davis. He owns Hyperfit Hockey, and he entered into my life through my boy. At the time, his name was Kareem Corringham, who I went to high school with. And so Ben Davis, is from Rexdale. Shout out to his 2 kids. One of them goes to TMU, is the captain there. The other one plays for the Windsor Spitfires. His name is Cole Davis. I got to train his kids when they were younger, but he essentially allowed me to be myself. Got it. Right? And he allowed Ben Davis, man. Yo, listen, man, he taught me, Kev, like, showing up on time isn't on time. Show up 50 minutes early. Just being always be teaching, right? Being a professional, working hard, grinding, right? Doing things you don't like doing. Like, he was, in my opinion, like, he was like the father I just never really had. You know what I'm trying to say? And I'm lucky I got one at 21. Like, some guys just never get one, right? So he was the one that showed me who I was. Like, he told me back then, be like, yo, you don't know to pass. You can't pass the puck. You ain't good. But it was only because he knew how my brain worked. If I tell this kid he doesn't know how to do something, he's going to then do it. And I got to respect him for that. I only learned that when I got older.
Right. Try to prove him wrong.
Yeah, and he understood from a psychological standpoint, like, everybody ticks different. Right. Yeah. Right. You know what I mean? Because I could get comfortable probably. I know that about myself, right? So, and the reason I got to call my boy, shout out my boy Karim, was because if it wasn't for him, I don't even step into the gym, right? We were playing hockey together. We call it shinny, so it's equivalent to pickup. Gotcha. And we reconnected. I hadn't seen him in years because he was playing D1 golf. You got a D1 golf scholarship, right? Which is hard. And he ended up getting injured. He ended up getting injured, so he was back home. And so he was working for Ben. And so he's like, yo, Kev, like, I'm working in the gym in the back. I'm like, oh, bet. So I started working out there. And within 2 days of me working out, he's just like, yo, Ben wants to see you in the office, right? I'm like, oh, say a word. Go in the office. Ben's like, yo, dude, we're looking for another trainer. Do you think you think you'd be interested? And at that time, I'm like, nah, man, I'm trying to train to go to the league, bro. I'm delusional, like, I'm just joking, not to go to the league, but I just want to become a better hockey player. Of course. But I was just like, yo, I can't really afford it either. So I'm like, if I start working here, then I could pay off the training. And it was through that connection and through that experience. Truthfully, that's how I met him. And for 5 to about 7 years, like, he just taught me the ways. He taught me how to train in the gym. He honestly taught me how to train kids just by visually just watching him.
Yeah.
Teaching just watching him teach other kids how he teaches. Yo, I call him one of the smartest guys in hockey, man, Mr. Fundamental. Right? And that's just, for me, that's all I stick to the fundamentals. You know, so that's my mentor at that time. You know?
That is dope.
Yeah.
Question for Jimmy and Kev. How important is a mentor?
You want to go first?
You want me to go first? Yeah.
Go ahead, man.
I think a mentor is extremely vital to any young human being, but even me as a 35-year-old, like, there's always been somebody that's done what you're trying to do or what you're trying to get to. So a mentor is for me has been pivotal, and in my opinion, it's probably accelerated a lot of my success. Right? Because a mentor is able to teach me what they did wrong, and then I don't have to make those same mistakes. You know, oftentimes Ben would be like, yo, kid, every mistake you've made, I've made. Trust me. Whether it's coming in late, whether it's not getting back to a client, whether it's whatever it is, like, yo, I've done it. So don't beat yourself up. Like, just keep on going. Right? So through that experience, I then got a life coach at one point. Paid my man E-Man. He's my boy, dog. You know? And at every stage, you're gonna, in my opinion, if you want to do it right, go get yourself a mentor, someone that you can connect with, because they will honestly accelerate you. Even if you got to pay for it, it's worth it. Trust me. But that's my opinion on mentors. Love them. I think they're great. I think everyone needs one no matter what. You can be 40, 50, whatever.
Just before I answer this question, I have to ask a question. You can go over it really quickly. You had a life coach.
Yeah.
What does that look like in
real time?
Like synopsis. Yeah, give me a quick synopsis about
in real time, yo, we would meet up at Egg Smart. Yo, Kev, first, what are your goals, Kev? Write down our goals. Bang. Chat about that a little bit. All right, bet. This is your homework. I need you to write down A, B, C, and D to help you get to your goals. And he would send me templates of things. What are your financial goals? What are your life goals? What are your career goals? What are your learning goals? You feel me? I know we're over time, but
no, okay, it's not that. That's not
okay, cool. Else. My fault. Anyways, yeah. So in real time, week after week, or 2 weeks at a time. So I'd see him, week 1, and then maybe week 3. Then all right, and then, yo, Kev, it's been about a month and a half. Did you reach your goal like you said you're going to? If not, how come? He's holding me accountable.
I got it. Okay.
You feel me?
I got it.
Right?
Okay.
So
I hear it.
So for me, I dibble and dabble into that life coach, because especially when you're your own boss, who's telling you what to do? I'm sorry, fam. Like,
you're not wrong.
Really,
don't say I'm sorry. You're not wrong.
You know you're supposed to do a podcast on Sunday, but man, I don't feel like it. But your life coach may be like, yo, dog, in 2 days you got your life coach, you got your podcast coming up. Like, I needed that, because naturally I know who I am, right? So, at that time, I got a life coach. I don't have one now. Probably going to get one at some point again. I think everybody should maybe have one that you can connect with. And just for full disclosure, like, I found somebody who was in the personal training game, because I wanted to build my personal training business. Okay. So it was catered around that. You know what I mean?
That's cool, man.
But yeah, man, like, that's what it looks like in real time.
That's dope.
Yeah.
I asked that question because I know somebody who we used to be a lot closer, who told me they had a life coach as well. And he was like dumb rich. And I always thought he looked down upon therapy, because I was very much like, no, I have my therapist, I was getting through some stuff, whatever. He was like, I don't like therapy, but I like my life coach. And it's essentially the same thing. So I wanted to hear in real time, like, how that looked. To answer your question, I think we talked about this last episode. My mentor necessarily isn't like, he's business minded, but I don't use him for business related things. This is more of like just being an adult, man, just trying to figure it out. Like, my mentor I met in high school, who was my previous basketball coach. And the reason why I keep him as my mentor is because he always kind of keeps me grounded. When I'm crashing out about something, when I'm crashing about the playground thing going on, or like beef with my gal or whatever's going on, you're always like, bro, like you said, you're not the first one to go through this. Not his exact words, but you're not the first one to go through this. Like, bro, this stuff happens, and like, why do you think this happened? Like, in real, like, we talking about, like, why things happen? And I'm like, oh, I don't, you know what I'm saying? But he's like, no, but think, like, give me, like, an answer, like, a real one. And then you start thinking about real answers. Just like you have a life coach, and it's like, okay, the more I flesh it out, the more I feel better about it. So for me, mentorship is very important, which is why I coach today. Because I don't know how I'm going to, I don't know what these kids that I'm coaching today or the kids I coached before, how they feel. But I know that some of the kids I've coached, they'll speak to me about things that are going on in their life. And I'm able to have a conversation about whatever, just answering questions, even if it's a small thing, school related, relationship related, jobs, whatever the case may be. Like, having an outlet for somebody is very important. I need an outlet. Kerto needs an outlet. I'm sure Trizzy needs an outlet. And we're outlets for each other. But beyond us, we do need someone that's going to be like, hey, man, you said you're going to do this, so let's make sure you do this. You said you could do that, you're going to do that. And that's what I want to be for people. And I think that's very important. So it's a lovely question. Thank you for asking that question.
Of course.
Now, this is I'm excited to ask this question because it's also important to me. What is next for the Kerto brand?
It's a good question. The reason why I have to think about it is because, you know, life throws you curveballs.
Does it ever?
Big time. And for those that don't know, like, I had my own gym and I moved my gym this past summer into something that I thought was like the forever gym, you know, like 2 big double pads for the guys that don't really understand what that means, 2 ice rinks, you know.
It's the double pad?
We would call them double pads, yeah.
For 2 ice rinks?
Yeah, 2 ice rinks.
Got you.
So 2 ice rinks.
Got you.
You know, we had a gym that had all the bells and whistles, enough space to house 2 hockey teams, office space, the whole 9 yards. And essentially what I'm saying is the vision, and maybe the vision is still this. And I'm going to tell you for free, I don't know. But a high performance facility that was based around community, building a community, you know, like whether there's pros there or young athletes, you know, even for guys like yourself to come through, work out, you know, have a place to chill, have a place to just be healthy, have good conversations, but still cater to everybody. Because at the end of the day, I think for me, you know, at my core, I think, and I don't want to say I think, I know that's what I really yearn to create is community. I love community. So unfortunately, you know, things went left and we had to move it out of the establishment we were in. And currently right now we are recalibrating and making the necessary moves to potentially get back to that, or it's going to look a lot different. But in essence, the biggest thing for the Kerto brand is to continue to help build a community around sport, primarily hockey. As you can tell, I'm wearing a basketball shirt. Right?
Shirt is crazy, by the way.
Shirt is crazy.
Shout out Slam, right? But you know, I picked up basketball in the last 2 years. You know, I have a brand new ball community out in Oshawa, right? Something that I had never really did. I didn't really do it in high school, you know, right? I like running. People know, you know, I have a offshoot brand called Kerto Apparel. You know, the whole premise with the whole Kerto brand is to help build community through things that I love and bring people together, and so we can continue to connect, right? And so, yeah, man, that's where it's heading. And I'm gonna put on camera. I'm hoping at some point, maybe God has in plans for us to have a home again.
There you go.
You know, like a legit community center type home for all those things to come together.
There you go.
And God willing, it will happen.
Yeah, seriously.
Right?
Yeah.
Kevin, if you have a takeaway for the watchers and the listeners, what is your takeaway for the day?
Honestly, just keep going. Like, I know, like, everyone knows my slogan is like keep grinding, but like you really just have to. Like, I'm gonna quote my boy Eric Thomas, is just like, and I'm gonna paraphrase him. You know, it's just like he had this woman who had been studying for like 10 years and doing the whole, you know, trying to become a speaker. And she's like, yo, I'm doing everything right, and I'm not seeing the bread yet. And he's just like, bro, like, just because you've been doing it for 10 and you didn't see it, you might as well quit right now then, if that's what you're asking for, right? Like, just because you're putting in the work, just because you are doing everything right. It just might not be your time yet. Doesn't mean you stop, you know? And like, that's my takeaway. It's just like, you said it yourself. You're like, yo, Kev, you've been through all the high, bro. I've been to the NHL draft. I got a guy in the NHL. You know what I mean? Like, I had the big gym. I had a gym. Don't have a gym right now. Does it mean, yo, Kev, just stop? Realistically, like, just stop. Like, you ask for all this stuff. Does it just mean like just stop now? Like, who cares? You know, just go get a regular. No, you find a way. You just keep on going. Like, it's just you're being battle tested, right? So like, that's my takeaway at this moment in my life is just like, just keep going. Don't lose focus. Don't get down on yourself. If you screw up, you're gonna screw up. You're gonna screw up and make the same mistake multiple times. You're a human being. But, you know, the last thing I just want to add to it, and I will be that guy, like, yo, just put God first. That's what I've been trying to tell my man. I'm like, yo, dog, like, boys, like, man, it's like, anybody that's really watching this, whether you believe in God or not, you need to put something higher above you to get to where you got to get to. And you got to be grateful and you got to be thankful. If you don't do those things, you're just never going to, in my opinion, you're just not going to get there the way you think you're going to get there, right? So if there's anything for anybody, like, put God first and just keep going and it's just going to work out.
I almost shed a tear, to be honest with you. Like, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing, Kev.
Yeah, no worries.
Jimmy, what is your takeaway this evening?
Yo, man, Kerto been saying a lot of stuff that like I resonated with as well, and I've been saying this for like 3 episodes. Like, the community stuff is really, really big. Obviously, keep your head down and keep pushing. Look, man, just never stop believing in yourself and whatever you have planned for you. Like, we all have a purpose here, and if there's something that you love and you love it enough, it will bubble, it will shake. Mm-hmm. That's how I truly believe. If you love it enough and you're really into it, you're gonna find a way to make it bubble and shake. It's just how things go. And if you're a positive person, you attract what's meant for you. And if you love it, it will come to you one way or another. Maybe it doesn't look like what you think it looks like at that moment, but it will get there. Like Kerto asked, is like, bro, what did you think when you dropped the podcast? I'm like, I didn't think anything. Because it's going to keep growing, it's going to keep bubbling, it's going to keep shaking. And then somewhere we're going to find our stride. And then when people catch on, they'll see the growth and they'll get to grow with us. So that's the hope, man. And then Trizzy, your final words, man. What's your takeaways?
You know what? I'm not going to give you all the takeaway, but I actually want to take this moment to give Kevin his flowers. Please. Because Kevin is actually one of my best friends. Like, I've known Kev for many years, like 10 plus. But I think the way he portrays himself on social media, the public, is always very grounding. I think, Kev, what you're able to do is build community through belief in a higher power. And I think for many people, including myself, like, I was never there, you know, and every time you talk about Tristan, you just give yourself to God, and everything else that you want to happen will happen. And I just want to give Kevin his flowers, because I will never forget all these like 2-3 a.m. conversations, you know, when he would drop me off after a night out. We would be in like my garage for like 2-3 hours, for like an hour at 2-3 a.m. just chatting about what's next, what's coming. And like, I still remember those days, you know? So I for anyone who's listening and watching, like, whenever you get the opportunity, just give Kevin a follow, check out his socials, because what he's doing is incredible work, not only for people of color, but for community building. So shout out Kevin, man.
If I can have the last word,
go ahead.
You know, I just want to say thank you for having me, guys.
Yep.
Same thing with both you guys. I'll start with you, Jim. You know, we've had mutual friends. We've been acquaintances. Now we're boys. I can honestly say in the last 2 to 3 years, in our own way, we've gotten closer.
Yes.
Got a lot of respect for the come up, man. I got a lot of respect for dudes who fall down and pick themselves up and change for the better. And it's not that you were worse. You just keep getting better. So seeing your growth in the last 2 years, I'm sometimes scratching myself at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, yo, this guy's at the gym again, dog. Like, bro,
The gym with Jim at 5 a.m.
This guy's serious, bro. So, yo, your consistency is insane because, again, I work with pro athletes and they're very consistent, which is why they're professional athletes. Yeah. You possess that same quality. It's hard. Man. It's very commendable. And for my boy Tristan, same thing. Like, it's been love. Seeing your growth. Your creative mind, extremely intelligent, and you've always had my back. And seeing you to do this with your boy Jim, it's an honor to be here. So I appreciate the love, and honestly, maybe in the future I can be back here again in a different setting, in a different light. But it'd be lit.
Gladly.
Thanks, guys.
I think we have so much more to talk about, to be honest. Yeah. So there will be a part. Let's put it into the world. We'll put it out there.
There will part 2. There's no need to. Don't stress. I'm sure there's questions we didn't get to that we will get to. Yeah. But again, for everybody who's listening and still viewing, thank you so much for watching and checking in. Thank you, Kerto, for sitting on this couch with us, bro. We really appreciate it. And if you, like me and Trizzy, also enjoyed this conversation, please give this a like, share, comment, subscribe. Follow. 5 stars are preferable. If you want to give less, just do it with chest, man. Say what you got to say. Just make sure when you say it, you mean that. Don't take it back, bro.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you feel that way, say it. But again, it's only episode 7. We're still growing, so give us some grace, a little grace, as they say. You know what I mean? Give us a chance. But again, thank you so much for checking in with us. You were in the gym with Jim. Shout out Kuya, Trizzy. Shout out Kerto Training, and we're out. Love.
Easy.